pronounce it
Corey
correctly?
Torgerson, yeah.
Yes, could you explain what you do for beauty?
Absolutely. So I'm a facial cosmetic surgeon, and I'm just down the street at 70 Yorkville, and I do cosmetic and reconstructive procedures in the head and neck area. Everything from injectable fillers to surgical procedures.
I was watching you inject a woman's face. What are you doing? What type of procedure is that?
So today is Beautylicious, and we were just launching the event as I'm one of the sponsors by showcasing Restylane and Perlane. And this is an injectable filler. It goes in the skin or just beneath the skin, and it provides volume and restoration of beauty all throughout the face. So we were just doing an injectable procedure on a lady, and we did some in her chin and in her cheek area.
So is this to get rid of the wrinkles? It's like to get rid of the aging effects?
Aging occurs for several reasons. Some of them can be just because you're using your expression muscles a little bit too strongly, and that occurs around the eyes, usually in between the eyes or in your upper forehead or your crow's feet. This is just repetitive muscle use, and the skin just wrinkles naturally in that way. That's a great area for Botox. Other parts of aging include sort of your lower to mid face, and what happens with aging is that the skin thins and the fat sort of begins to sink and fall, and you get the development of the nasolabial fold lines right here and the marionette lines in the jowls. So fillers like Perlane or Restylane is a great way to be able to, in essence, blow up or inflate that sunken tissue, kind of like blowing up a beach ball or inflating a tire, to kind of provide a very natural fill, volume in the right areas.
So how long will this effect last?
It depends where you put the product, but usually you're not going to want to touch up the fill for about 8 to 9 months.
Okay, then after the 8 to 9 months, you have to come back and redo it?
You just get a little bit of a top up, exactly.
I see. So, what's the range, the cost for a facial? Like what you did to the woman just earlier.
So it entirely depends on the person and how much fill that you need. Today we did Botox at $8 a unit. It's a great price. And the fillers, Restylane, Perlane, generally starts off at around $500 to $600 per vial. And today we did 4 vials actually of Perlane and some Botox as well. And she was looking at, for sort of a global soft lift, about $2,200.
Wow. So that is $2,200, just what you did to her.
Right.
And is it an instant change, or is it gradually, from today, will it show right away?
The fillers are instant, and because they're tenting up or volumizing your face, you see it right away. Botox usually takes about 3-4 days to begin to work, and you get the full effect in about 7 days. Botox lasts for about 3 to 6 months.
Wow. So, are there any bad side effects that people have to be careful about, like people with allergies, or can everyone get Botox? Is it safe?
Well, both Botox and hyaluronic acids like Restylane and Perlane don't require any allergy testing. They are safe. It's very important they're done by someone that understands the anatomy of the face, is a doctor. I'm a facial cosmetic surgeon, head and neck surgeon, and so you need to, there are definitely complications that are possible, but within the right hands, it's almost complication or risk-free.
And how many years have you been doing this?
Have I been doing cosmetic surgery? I'm a surgeon for about 8 years now.
Wow. So, do you get a lot of customers who are women and men, or just mainly women?
That's a great question. Typically, this has been a female-dominated market. Maybe about 20% are men, and in my practice, I'm seeing about 45% men actually. A lot of more men are understanding that it's important to look and feel great about yourself, understand that it's about doing the right thing at the right time. So I see a lot of men that come in for both fillers, Botox, and even surgery as the markets are getting increasingly competitive.
Do you have any celebrity patients?
Sure, we see a lot of celebrities. Of course, those celebrities are confidential since...
Oh, you don't want to name them.
Absolutely, it's doctor-patient confidentiality. It's the most important thing is to be discreet.
Okay, do you think that this is like something that only the upper middle class rich people can afford? Like, or do you take installments, or like, how does it work in terms of for people who want it but can't afford to pay everything up right away?
It's an interesting question. Certainly with the recession that's hopefully behind us, there's probably been about a 25 to 30% reduction in the amount of surgical procedures that are being performed cosmetically around North America. That being said, the injectable business, the fillers and the Botox have increased remarkably, probably about 25 or 30%. And that's one of the reasons is exactly, it's more affordable, it is something that has to be done, it's temporary, but you can get a visible difference for a fraction of the price. Certainly surgery in the long run, especially anti-aging surgery, is more cost effective. In my practice we have payment plans, financial options that people can make installment payments on, so that it's comfortable for them.
Oh, I see. Okay, are any this isn't covered by medical, right? This is all private, out of your pocket type of expense.
What we're doing and talking about today is absolutely cosmetic procedures. There certainly are cosmetic things that can be covered by OHIP in the province of Ontario. They're quite selective.
Okay, so most of these people are paying from their own pocket.
They're paying out of it.
Wow. Okay, well, thank you so much for explaining it, and hopefully will you be here at the actual Beautylicious too, performing publicly? Like doing it?
So this past weekend is sort of the launch event. We're one of the main sponsors of Beautylicious. This is a fantastic way to promote the beauty industry in Toronto. Of course, it's localized in Yorkville. And so today was just about this weekend was about getting the word out, offering great discounts. And for the next 2 weeks, you'll be able to open up that little discount book and see I'm in there. There's lots of other great providers in the Yorkville area that are going to be showcasing what they can do and give people who might not be aware of what's available in Yorkville to come by and check us out.
Okay, well, I was trying to ask the organizer if the media will be allowed to do video of the before and after treatments. Would you allow that if I came back to video record some of the injections or procedures that you go through?
Absolutely. The issue is if the patient consents to it. So if the patient agrees that they'll be able to be photographed before and after, and be able to use on different media formats, then it's okay.
Okay, thank you.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much.
Okay, where is it? Here we are. Oh, just a second.
Need to pass through the audio.
It's true. You're hiring those guys.
Hello. Hello. Here we are in Parkdale with the creative brain of this installation, Marsha Weitzman. Okay, could you say something about this Nocturnal Encounters, and is this the first time that it's been installed in the world, or is this a global launch, or has it been done before?
I love this global launch. This is really cool. This has been done before, not by me, and not exactly like this. The special thing about this project is that it became a community project. We have about 10 to 15 people that really engaged with the idea and decided to be here from 7 to 7 and help with this very first idea that actually originally was mine, but now I see that the project is ours. So you were one of them, right?
Yes, actually, I'm so glad that I was invited here as a videographer and interviewer because this is mixing media with art. And I'm really, I think when I first heard about it at the meeting, I was very enthused about it. And I think that launching it here in the Louis Blanche is a great thing for Toronto because if there are more installations of media and art, I think it would reach the masses who are sitting at home on the internet.
Okay, so now I'm gonna interview you because this is the spirit of the project. There's something.
It sounds
Is there something happening with the sound? No, we're back. So first thing is that this is live TV. So what you see is what you get. Hello? What you see is what you get. So Imelda, tell me about your work. You're a videographer and you've been making maybe thousands of videos so far.
Well, actually, it's almost 400 videos on the internet. Since 2007, I have been doing videos of events and in Toronto, which are on the video sharing.
I have a problem with the audio. It's going to coming, but anyway.
It's on the video sharing websites such as video.ca, YouTube, Vedo, Vimeo, and I think that Toronto has a lot of events, talents that are worth putting on the internet, and I wish there would be more access for artists on the other broadcasting media such as television.
So I need to explain that it's really cold in Toronto. We have some people in other parts watching. We have some people. Oh, I know. Maybe we have a problem with the speaker. Is it possible? Hello? Hello? So we have people in other parts of the world, especially in São Paulo. We have to continue later.
We'll come back. I'll just.
We're gonna come back later.
Maybe the cable.
Hello? Okay.
I was gonna ask, is this being shown in São Paulo too?
Foi ali na,
Internet.
na junção, não?
No. Can it be the back?
Okay, we're here with Tony Maloto, the founder of Gawad Kalinga. They're starting a branch here in Toronto, and the launch is tomorrow at the St. Lawrence Hall. I just during the Q&A, you mentioned that some of the recipients they had been thieves or they were drunks, and do you think that this might be it's sort of strange to reward people who had bad character, and then you said that they became good people after because their dignity was restored.
Yes.
You think that this is a good way to rehabilitate petty criminals?
Yes. Rather, we don't have enough prisons, cells, or drug institutions, to send them to. But we can do massive community rehab. We must realize that these are victims, and this is not a reward, but this is about justice, because they have been deprived of justice for generations, and they have been brutalized by poverty and the injustice that have made them behave like animals. But then we realize that our own belief systems, the value of democracy and Christianity, is always about transformation.
Okay, so you believe that helping them will actually change their character. And did they actually tell you what their past was like before they were helped?
Yes. We deliberately went out to look for gang members when we started out, because they're a threat to our own families. And if we just become oblivious to them, then we will continue to just live in artificial bubbles of security. So we have to see the darkness out there and see the evil out there and say we should go there, and transform that environment.
Okay, so gang members meaning what? You mean like they were actually violent?
No, these are thieves, and these are akyat bahay. And so you realize that no one was born a criminal. And that it is their environment oftentimes that bring out their predatory nature. So you have to do social engineering, transform their physical environment, give them the fairness and the justice that has been denied by history to them, and give them just again and put them in an even playing field. Build their human capacity and give them again a sense of dignity and give them the motivation to really work or send their children to school. So I mean, no one has provided us the right model, and that's why we're constantly in search for a better way of addressing poverty in our country. And now we have shown that in our 2,000 communities that there has been a major transformation. One is that crime has, we are almost zero crime in many of our communities. Isn't that something that already is an indicator that we are recovering our human resource, that from being idle, from a culture of sloth, and an environment of violence, that we can actually build peaceful communities, that we can become effective platforms for production, so that we can never rise as a nation if we are a country of squatters, and our men continue to be idle, and their children will not be motivated to study. So I guess we're just following this path. We don't really have all the answers, but we see that we are able to see much better results than what others could present. That's why we want people, if you have a better idea, please share it with us or do it.
So the change was also internal. It wasn't just an external change of environment, but their spiritual character was internally changed by
Yes. When you start to build the right values in their community, when you start to see the value of work, when you see the value of caring and sharing, then these were not the values that were observed. They would have loyalty to immediate family members, but then they will also tolerate criminality. They will always they tolerate drunkenness, they tolerate gambling and all of these social problems, because there's just no one offering them a better way. So what we're simply saying that maybe this is a path that we have given them, and maybe other people can do it. But then we keep on inviting a lot of people to say, tell us how we can do it better.
Okay, well, that sounds wonderful then. I mean, it looks like that it's an extensive revolution almost of the situations that poor people were in. And I really am glad that you're going to branch it out internationally.
And it's about, it's our journey of the Filipino. It's about solidarity, that those in Canada are in solidarity with the poor in Payatas or in Smoky Mountain. It is about remaining rooted, in the motherland. It is just simply showing the whole world that God did not make us a mistake, that He made us Filipinos. And we have to really honor the privilege of the country that was chosen by God for us. And so we might look for opportunities elsewhere. We might develop expertise in other countries. But at the end of the day, there has to be a collective consciousness that we should not abandon. We should not forget the poor that we have left behind.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Melvin. Thank you.
Okay, we're here at Dundas and Yonge Square with the organizer of Take Back the Night, Deb Singh. Could you just introduce yourself and say something about this event?
Hi, my name is Deb Singh, and I work at the Toronto Rape Crisis Centre, Multicultural Women Against Rape. I'm a counselor and activist there, and in fact, it took about 100 women to organize this event. So even though I'm one of the women who is talking to you today about it, it takes a collective, a community to run this event.
So are these 100 women members of your Rape Crisis Center?
Exactly. So these are women from all over who represent multiple organizations, who work in multiple places. But of course, we have a staff team of 6 at the center, and many of the organizers are also here at the community fair, Black Cat, Maggie's, the Assaulted Women's Helpline, the Parkdale Anti-Violence Education. There are so many amazing organizations that came out to support the planning of Take Back the Night.
How many years has this been going on?
This is our 30th anniversary year, 30 years of struggle, resistance, and liberation. And the Toronto Rape Crisis Centre, Multicultural Women Against Rape, has been hosting it for 30 years.
This event actually sounds like it's familiar. Is this also happening around the world, in other parts of the world?
Yes, Take Back the Night is a global phenomenon. It happens in multiple cities. So I think we brought it here in part because Barbara Schleifer was murdered in 1980, a woman who was a feminist activist in our community, a woman who was a lawyer being called to the bar. She was murdered, and how the police and media dealt with it was just not enough, right? So many feminist activists wanted to create some awareness and also honor her death. Years after, we're celebrating survivors, we're celebrating our healing, but we're also protesting our right to walk free of violence at night.
Was her murderer caught?
Not to my knowledge, but I don't know.
Okay, so around the world, are you all connected ongoing, like with the other associations or groups that are doing the same event?
Well, rape crisis centers all across Ontario are connected. So they're connected through the Ontario Coalition of Rape Crisis Centers. And each rape crisis center in their own community puts on their own Take Back the Night. But on a global level, many of these Take Back the Nights happen in their own communities. And from a Toronto perspective, each year we've been doing Take Back the Night. We have communities come and ask us, hey, can you host a Take Back the Night in our community because this violence happened or this other thing happened. So we've been doing this in context, in partnership with many communities over the years.
Okay, so what do you think the general population, how did they react to this event?
I think people feel really empowered. Women especially feel really empowered. You know, sexual assault survivors, childhood sexual assault survivors. You know, even if you don't identify as a survivor, almost every woman has experienced the fear of walking the streets at night alone. So every year we have a really, really empowered response by women. I think that, you know, artists come together, community activists, organizations, survivors, community members come together to make this happen.
Okay, so I just wanted to mention, like, you know, the high rate of domestic violence. So do you deal with those cases too, or just women who've been raped by a stranger?
Statistically, women are sexually assaulted by people that they know, around 74%. So, and also when we're talking about domestic violence, violence again is happening by a person that the woman knows. We support anyone who identifies as a survivor of violence. That can be any violence, sexual assault, childhood sexual assault, domestic assault, domestic violence, but also there's a lot of violence happening by our institutions, right? So people are experiencing racism, people are experiencing discrimination in social services systems, people are experiencing discrimination from places of gender identity, transphobia, ableism, colonization. So many Indigenous sisters have experienced violence, so we support anybody who identifies as has experienced violence.
Okay, could you just say something about what's going to happen tonight, the schedule?
Tonight is going to be an amazing night. Right now is happening our community fair, where many organizations come out to support community members by giving out their community information and resources. We're also having a rally at 6 p.m. With artists like Mata Dance, Abstract Random, Faith Nolan, Rovina. Wendo's coming. We'll be marching at 8 o'clock, and then we have an after party at 9:30.
An after party meaning what, like a dance?
Right here in Dundas Square, we're going to have DJs, and when you see the end of the march, you're going to have thousands of women with tons of energy that they want to put out, and so this is where the energy gets to be dispersed, is at the after party here at Yonge and Dundas Square.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Imelda.
What do you think is the biggest challenge facing the OPA over the next year?
Well, it's the continuing, I think it's going to be money that's going to be an issue for continuing to fund the microfit contracts, because the reviews are going to keep lowering the contract rate.
One will it is to fund the microfit.
Yeah, that's their main, for me, that's what I see as their main challenge, to be able to rationalize continuing the funding for these contracts.
Rationalizing the continuing of the funding for these projects.
Yeah, because solar energy is still a new, it's, you know, we don't know how much these systems can generate in terms of electricity. It's still in the initial stages. We don't have enough information from the meters to determine whether it is worth the money that's going into it. So, but I'm reading up on how much sun is shining in Ontario, and I'm hoping that it is worth all that money, because that's really the best way to rationalize it's the contracts, is that it will generate electricity in that amount.
And thinking about the Ontario Power Authority, or the OPA, do you strongly agree, somewhat disagree, or strongly disagree that the OPA is credible in what it says about electricity in the province?
Oh yeah, I think it's credible. It's kind of idealistic, but it's also credible, because I've read that based on the consumption of average household, you would need about a 10 kilowatt system in Ontario to be able to have that much electricity for all the appliances in an average house in Ontario. So I think it's, at this point, from what I've read, although I haven't seen all the meter readings or anyone, I think they're credible enough that they must have researched this before inviting the foreign companies to come in.
I hear you. And so would you say that you strongly agree or somewhat agree that the OPA is credible in what it says about electricity in the province?
I think it's strongly agreed. I'm sure they must have researched it, and I hope it is true, because at this point in time, until more people who've bought the systems publish the generation rates versus the consumption rates of a household, see, that's really what it is. Ideally, the generation of electricity will be more than the consumption rate, but from what I've read so far, it's about equal if you have a 10 kilowatt system.
And how about this one? The OPA is showing leadership on issues associated with electricity in the province.
Oh, definitely, strongly agree.
The OPA is trusted to do what is in the best interests of Ontarians.
Oh,
Strongly agree?
I think strongly agree. They're idealistic, but it might actually, in the long term, be a practical long-term investment. It's kind of, at this point in time, we would need to get more technical, practical information on the solar and the wind projects, how much electricity is being generated. But I think at this point, I would say strongly agree that they must have done some research on this. It's not just like, oh, let's fund the system and then there's not enough electricity being generated. I think based on what I see so far, that they're credible because they did research prior to bringing it in.
I hear you.
Oh, it was done, each piece was done individually, then stuck on the wood.
Yes, because it's the roots. Pero the most exquisite is over
Oh,
there.
the road is made from the roots of the tree.
Yes.
And then the pieces
Were stuck
were
in.
just stuck in. So
Yeah.
it's ang galing.
Pero that is the most exquisite item. Because it has no cut, it has no joint, it has nothing. But it's a whole piece of wood.
Which one?
This thing,
This?
no, this one, and that one. You would see it.
Oh, so
no
you mean
joints.
he carved it
No,
from one
I
piece?
carve it within a whole piece without any.
Ikaw?
Of course.
Ang galing mo pala. Ah. Kasi nahalata ko parang ang pino-pino ng mga carvings
because,
ngayon.
No, because we're using a very special tool, which is the knives only.
Wow.
It's not very usual tool. We don't use chisels on it.
Meron ka bang card? Business card?
Yung ganyan is 50.
Meron kang business card?
We don't have siya. But kung kasi what I'm using before was my mother's business card already. Because we are in the business for already about almost 50 years.
So who taught you how to carve?
I started with learning from my grandfather, then to my father.
Wow.